Welcome back to This Is Why We Watch Movies. I'm Brian.
And I'm Landon.
And today we have an episode for you. Normally I say a fantastic episode.
Yeah.
But then because of what we're talking about today,
it could really go either way.
It could go either way. That's
Yeah.
true. But yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. I'm going to go ahead and say this because I have intentions that I haven't ran past you. This is going to be kind of be a surprise episode, but it's really because you're getting 2 episodes in 1 week because I forgot to upload the other one.
Oh, yeah.
So that will have gone up on Tuesday. Today is Thursday. But I'm recording this before I've uploaded the other one, so don't hold me to it.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm doing this for accountability.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that hasn't stopped us before.
It
Let's
hasn't.
be real about it. It's like
I was like, it's coming out.
we've been saying we were going to review Tree of Life since like September.
No,
So,
it's been longer than that. It's been since like July.
that's crazy. So, you know,
One day when we have time, we'll review it. But we
Dr. Seuss Bible class watched Tree of Life today.
really
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, she mentioned it and I was just kind of rolled my
It's
eyes.
a good film.
Mm.
But anyways, yeah. So this is going to come out on Thursday, like normal. The other one's late, but we're just going to say this is a surprise bonus episode,
Yeah.
so that we gaslight our fans into thinking that we're kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we are kind
Yeah. Most of the time.
most of the time. Today might be a day that we don't seem kind.
I was
So
going to say.
if you're new to the show, I'm sorry. You may just want to like go to a different episode where we both are super kind to the film in question, or maybe even one where we had an argument on air. I don't know.
Have we done that?
Not too deep. We generally squash, but
Yeah, not like off camera.
off camera, it's bloody.
It gets ugly.
But no, and you could say it hurts,
I'm gonna lose
but that's
it.
okay because in a brotherly way, I love you. Sometimes love hurts.
I'm gonna lose it.
And today, that's what we're reviewing is Love
This guy.
Hurts.
This guy. All right.
That was a terrible segue.
It really was.
You saw me working very hard to get there
I
as
saw your
well.
brain. Yeah, I just saw it. It was like turning in his head. I was like, oh no, he's gonna do something here.
Yeah, so Love Hurts. It's a new action film. I forgot who directed it. That doesn't seem particularly relevant.
No, I should look it up, but
I looked at it. It was their first movie.
okay, that makes sense.
But it is in a long string of films that has been produced by 87 North, which is David Leitch's stunt production company. So that's cool. Yeah. Do you have the log line handy?
I do. A realtor is pulled back into a life he left after his former partner in crime resurfaces with an ominous message. With his crime lord brother also on his trail, he must confront his past and the history he never fully buried.
I feel like that log line is inaccurate and gives away too much at the same time.
Sure.
Most notably, the character in question was never his partner.
Yeah.
In any capacity,
Right.
whether romantic or platonic, or work. So I
Yeah,
disagree. I disagree. This is the first time I disagree with the log line.
They just they worked for the same organization. That was kind of the extent of it. And like,
It would be like if myself and, I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone random that I'll just name drop. If Patrick Murray, just like, shout out if you come across this.
yeah, shout out Patrick Murray.
If it's like if he and I like reconnected after several years in a scenario where I like pretended to kill him.
Sure.
And faked his death,
Yeah.
which I didn't. But no, it's like it's not like they were romantic partners. Like they worked together. Like I enjoyed my time working with Patrick Murray.
Yeah.
And now I occasionally
But you wouldn't have called him your partner in crime.
no, never. Like maybe
Yeah.
my partner in the cafe
Yeah, there you
for
go.
like 3 hours
Right.
once.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah. Same with you.
Okay, that's a little different.
It's different. Anyway,
We were kind of partners in crime.
We were. This is all harkening back to the deep lore for any of our longtime listeners of our time at the movie theater.
That is true.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's such a random anecdote, but it makes sense to me that it's like, why are you saying this person is your partner in crime? I'm tripped out by that because I hadn't seen this log line
Sure.
and I really despise it.
Interesting.
But we're not here to talk about what we despise quite yet. As always, we must talk about the positives.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to get this on a t-shirt one day. Tell me, what's your first pro?
My one and only is Sean Astin.
Sean Astin. I forgot he was in this already.
Dude, again, he wasn't in it enough. Like, let's put him in this thing more, you know?
What was it he said? He was like, what's the difference between putting bodies in holes and families in homes?
Dude, I don't know. But I was like, he shows up. I didn't realize he was in this movie until the opening credits.
Even then, I was
is
like, he really in this movie?
And then he shows up and he's just like, this like redneck guy who owns the reeling company.
Yeah.
I thought he was like, when he was on screen, it was the most enjoyable. That's not saying all that much, though.
No, it's not. I mean, he was in the film.
Yeah.
I don't really remember those scenes.
Oh, no, me neither. That's the best part.
Yeah. Like, I'm reviewing a film that it feels like I didn't watch.
Well, to be fair, I remember...
And I wasn't even on my phone in this one.
No, you weren't. And you know what's funny, though? Is that, like, I do remember the scenes for the most part.
Yeah.
But I don't remember, like, that much of the scenes is kind of the problem. There's just moments that I'm like, okay, Sean Astin was good there.
Since I have a few more pros than you do, I will go ahead and run through them quickly before we just start ripping this apart.
Okay.
I actually liked Key in this movie. Like, I think he has a delightful charisma about him. And I said this before we watched it. Like, I think it'll be fun. I did enjoy him. I wouldn't say I loved his character, but like, you can tell that he's just like having fun making the film. And I appreciated that. Like, it is goofy and he's just doing his thing. I liked this side character named the Raven, which was a assassin that really just wanted to be a poet. And this subplot has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. Yeah. But it's very funny to see him be like, I want to be a lover, not a fighter. Like, that's the only times that I laughed, was when he was on screen.
Yeah, you were eating that up.
But also, I have a minor in poetry. So, like, I don't know. I'm going to blame it on that.
Yeah, no, I just found it annoying.
Like, I mean, it was. But also, it was so annoying, it was funny. And then up to the point that the first fight happened, the first one being between Raven and Key, I actually really enjoyed the first fight in terms of blocking. It's like, oh, this is, what we're in for is like, the brutal slapstick that from David Leitch films that I enjoy for the most part. Like, that first fight was pretty good and it was promising because like, oh, maybe the rest of the movie, if it keeps this momentum, it will be good. And then it didn't. Yeah,
well, I just put like, and this is going to get into...
I'm done with pros now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's like, that is the most enjoyable action scene, and I'm still not like crazy about it. But the problem is that like, there's not that many action scenes either.
No.
They're so few and far between that it makes them somehow even more mediocre than they are.
Right. It's like you forget that it's an action movie and it just becomes a rom-com and a bad rom-com. And
the problem is that it doesn't work as a rom-com. It doesn't work as an action film either. So like, I watched Hard Eyes the same day. And Hard Eyes I don't think is necessarily great, but what I think it is like, it is a pretty decent rom-com and a pretty decent like throwback 90s slasher.
Sure.
Like, it does both of those things that it's trying to do, and both of them could kind of stand on their own.
Yeah.
So like, this is the complete opposite.
Well, that's the thing is like, a film that marries the slapstick David Leitch style action with a rom-com very well is The Fall Guy.
Yeah.
I think that's the most frustrating thing about this whole experience for me is that it's like, it is the same production company. It's a lot of the same stunt people, the same, like, the same overall talent is involved with the financing and making of the film, even if Leitch isn't directing.
Sure.
And somehow it turns out like a very mediocre project.
This is like, I'm afraid they're going to become like the Blumhouse of action movies.
That's
where it's like, Blumhouse has put out really good stuff in the past, but it seems like in the last couple of years that it is like, you get one good one for every like 10 that they make.
Which I'm not out here saying that like David Leitch is making the best action movies currently.
No,
it's just that, because I mean, he made Bullet Train.
Yeah.
Bullet Train's atrocious.
Which
But
I think we're kind of in the
minority.
minority on that. Yeah.
yeah, The Fall Guy is so much better.
The Fall Guy is better than Bullet Train, and y'all are crazy if you
Even
don't think
Hobbs
so.
and Shaw is better than Bullet Train. I said it here.
Whoa, yeah. Yes.
I liked Hobbs and Shaw.
Dude, Hobbs and Shaw, I do remember though. I do remember having like a reaction of like, oh yeah, heck yeah, dude.
The part where The Rock pulls the helicopter.
Yeah, he's like
down.
pulling the helicopter with a chain. I'm like, oh, all right, word.
See, that's what I want out of these movies, though, is something so preposterous. But like the blocking of the fight scenes in Love Hurts is very much so like, oh, low budget action movie. They're using what's around. And I think that they use it efficiently in that first fight and maybe the one in his condo.
Sure.
But as it keeps going, it's like the set pieces aren't interesting.
The set
'Cause
pieces
it's
aren't.
like, they're
yeah.
all just like normal rooms that you'd have a fight in.
Yeah, no, And honestly, you were telling me what the budget was, and it was like 18, which is a
18
good
million,
budget. Like,
I mean,
and I don't want to, and you don't even need to compare it to whatever else is out there, because like you can make a good action film with 18 million.
I think a lot of these 87 North movies are around 18 to 30. So yeah.
Right.
I was looking, the original John Wick was 40.
Which is
So
great.
yeah. And like, again, they use it very efficiently. I don't think that they ran out of money on any of those fronts. I'm not really sure what happened.
Yeah.
It's just the choreography goes down, which obviously I have different, sorry about hitting the mic, y'all. For those that are not watching the show, I just was pointed right at the mic. But like, you know, something like Monkey Man, which I didn't like the choreography for the fights in Monkey Man.
See, I did though.
You can go back and listen to us. That's one time that we did somewhat have an argument.
Yeah, I liked Monkey Man a lot more than you did.
I mean, I still gave it 3 stars,
Yeah.
but Monkey Man had better fights than this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's no question in my heart.
I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's like I think I knew going into this I wasn't gonna like it.
I was hopeful.
Because for me, it's like I, for the most part, don't like this kind of like action film. I think that Fall Guy was a weird exception to that rule.
Yeah.
And then Monkey Man didn't feel like this at all, so I can't even like put it in the same category really.
I prefer this style, which is like quasi martial arts, but they're not doing martial arts, but they're doing like a choreography.
I mean, to me, this very much feels like kind of I don't know if a tribute is the right word, but like to those like action comedies that like Jackie Chan was doing. So like First Strike, it was a First Strike.
Spy Next Door.
Spy Next. I don't know about Spy Next Door. That one's more of like a kid's one.
Well,
but,
that's one of the only ones I've seen because I was a kid.
Well, I've seen a bunch of them now.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of behind on Jackie Chan. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and there was like a couple that he did in Australia that I thought were kind of wild, and I liked them whenever I was younger. But kind of going back now, I'm not too crazy about them.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it feels like that. But what I was saying is, I prefer this style of like action to something like another film that we maybe didn't review. I don't remember. The one with Henry Cavill that came out last year. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Oh yeah,
that movie to me was like they're just running around in a wide shot pointing a gun, and it's not interesting. And at least there's choreography in it, so that's where like some of the merit I would give to Love Hurts comes from. Is like there is choreography. It does do that. It just doesn't do it in a way that it stays compelling for a long period of time.
Sure. Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say is that this movie is too long. Which is crazy because it's only an hour and 20-some minutes.
Yeah.
Without the credits. It's over very quickly, but it felt like a long time. And I think it's because of the pacing and the space between the fights and how cringe the romance plot was. I'm not really sure what it was trying to say in the 80 minutes it had.
You know, I don't think it knows what it was trying to say. I think it's kind of the problem.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to find where these films were because I can't remember what they're called now.
That's fine. I can keep talking.
Mr. Nice Guy. It was First Strike, yeah. First Strike, Mr. Nice Guy. That's the kind of vibe I got from it.
When I was a kid, I was on the television because we had satellite for a brief period. And there was a Jackie Chan movie where, you know, it was just on TV somewhere. And there was a lady that he was like rescuing, but then it's like she had a computer drive in the back of her head.
What?
And like there was like a floppy disk that was ejected. I don't know if I'm hallucinating this, but I remember watching it and being freaked out. And then my mom came in and was like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "It's Jackie Chan," because he had the cartoon that was on WB at that time.
Oh, interesting.
And so I watched the cartoon on Saturdays, but I'd never seen one of his movies. So the first time I see a Jackie Chan film, I flipped it there, and then it was like something that was probably not appropriate for me at age 6.
Probably.
But I remember vividly like ejecting the disc from the back of her head, and then she just goes down like that.
That's crazy.
And I was freaked out.
Yeah.
So if anyone knows what that is, randomly out of like the 20 people that watched this, please write me and tell me, because I don't know.
Interesting.
That could be a good clip for socials as well. Like, let us know what the clip is.
Yeah.
Let us know where the film is. But yeah, you kind of alluded to this earlier, in that it feels a lot like those Jackie Chan movies, or even maybe like Jet Li or something from the early 2000s in its goofiness. And well, I don't think he would have become a martial arts action star due to his stature and whatnot. I do think while I was watching it, I had this like feeling like, man, I really wish that like he had been making movies like this when I was a kid. Not because it would be great, but I would have probably enjoyed this one substantially more when I was younger, but also like that same style of goofier comedy that, you know, I think when you look at his filmography, he's only been in a few things. And I know he had reasons for stepping away from the industry, but like it's kind of a shame because he is a talented and funny guy.
Sure. I mean, I agree. I would probably have enjoyed it much more, 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah. When I was a wee lad.
Yeah, when I was a wee lad. But I don't know. But I also just don't think his performance was great either. And I don't know that it's all his fault.
No, the script is pretty abysmal.
Yeah, to be fair, there's not a great performance in it at all.
Sean Astin.
I mean, let's be real.
He locks in for the clock in, bro.
Listen,
I forgot he was in it.
As much as I think like I loved him in this movie, he's not really putting in much of a performance at this point.
No.
But it's like you have two of the last couple of years, like best supporting actor and actress. You have Ariana DeBose from, West Side Story, obviously.
That's what she was in.
Yeah, and like she wins the Academy Award and then has just been in like terrible things since. So like she was in Craven last year. Like this is I'm like, what? Like I don't know what we're doing. And then Key, I think both of it is like they're both great performers, but they're giving nothing to do here, and it's really it's tough watch.
Yeah, it was tough to get through. Someone I was talking to today, I told them that this was the show that we were doing tonight, and they asked, "How was it?" And I said, "Not good. You should probably just go watch The Fall Guy if you haven't seen it."
Sure. Well, and also kind of this and the next thing are kind of together, but like there is zero chemistry.
Oh my God.
There's zero like sexual tension between the two that is supposed to be like, that's supposed to be like the driving thing of this film. And it's non-existent.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's really awkward when they're like in those weird moments.
Yeah, it is.
I'm like, I don't know.
Like every time he tells a joke, it just leaves you like,
okay. That goes on way too long. It does. Oh no. Anyway, what else did you have cons wise?
Oh, I've already gone through my whole list. Okay, I just kept talking.
No, last thing for me is like I found the comedy quite insufferable.
Yeah, aside from The Raven, I didn't find it very funny.
Even I'm like, oh my God.
I liked The Raven.
I think that like I genuinely did. I got up during the movie and I just left the theater for like 5 minutes. I was like, I just need to get out of here. I can't.
I thought you just went to the restroom.
No, I was done.
You know, I would have left if you just asked me to.
No, I was gonna finish the movie because we were gonna review it, but I just needed like 5 minutes, and I came back and I sat down and I said, "Did I miss anything?" Like,
no.
And you just were like, "No." I was like, "Oh, great." I was like,
she went to the hideout, but like not that much,
right?
Like I think she said she was going to the hideout before you left.
Yeah, so it must have been like
she did.
It must have been like some montage of her driving.
Yeah, that was basically it.
So I was like, "Okay, cool. I guess I didn't miss anything."
I mean, there was the bit where he decided to go after her. That's what you missed.
Oh, I saw that part.
Oh, then I don't know what you missed.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But yeah, so that was all I thought about this movie. I'm surprised we actually made it this far into the episode still talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, we got a little distracted, but we,
I don't know. I don't think I can recommend this to anyone.
No, I don't know who this is for.
Yeah.
Like,
normally I'm in the mindset that, hey, you should go watch everything for yourself, figure out if you like it. And I mean, sure, do that if you like action movies. Maybe someone will like this. But genuinely, I don't think I've watched anything in a while that like this, leaving it, I was like, I don't know who would enjoy this.
Yeah.
Normally I'm like, oh yeah, someone I know or someone out there will find pleasure in this, but I can't fathom that.
Right.
So I feel bad about it, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, me too.
What did you rate it?
I'm giving it a 1.5, being generous.
I'm also giving it a 1.5 because of the Raven.
I don't know. I just struggle to give anything a 1 star. Like, to me, it's just like, I know how hard it is to make a movie, and it feels like it has to be something like.
You were an Upward as a kid, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone gets a star today.
Yeah. But it's one of those things too. It's like there are very few films that I've given like half stars and 1 stars to. And when you look at them, they're all like sequels to horror movies that like the sequel to Unfriended, The Dark Web. Oh yeah, it was terrible. That's like the lowest rating I have on Letterboxd.
I once gave a super hyperbolic rating to Captain Marvel. I gave it a 0.5 star. It was my lowest rating on Letterboxd. And then I rewatched it.
I don't think it's that bad.
It's not that bad. It's not that good.
No.
It's a 2 or 2.5.
I feel like that's where I fall on. Like, again, I'll talk about this in a minute, but when I get to the end of the episode, but rewatching a lot of the MCU stuff, it's like, man, a lot of this is more mediocre than I remember. And then some of it, like, I think in the era that I'm currently watching is where I think it's like the golden era where everything seems to be interesting.
Right. Well, I have something on that for a different franchise when we get to that segment. But yeah, so that was our review of Love Hurts. Yeah. If you watch it, let us know. If you did watch it and disagree with us, also let us know. I'm always happy to hear opposing opinions, unless they're his.
Wow, it's kind of rude.
Never happy to hear you.
Yeah.
For our next segment, it's going to be something that we did last week. I think you really enjoyed me just tossing out a recasting of Jaws, and you have now prepared a couple of things for me to recast, is my understanding? I have. And I have one for you as well.
So we'll do your first one first.
Okay.
Be mine, and then if we need it, we can do the other one. All right.
Wonderful.
So the film that I'm going to have you put together the cast and crew for, The Terminator.
The Terminator. Okay.
Right. So you want to start at the top with director?
Director. Yeah. You know what? Let's do John Watts.
Okay.
Let's go out of pocket. You know, his background is in horror.
Sure.
And I think maybe like he could bring like an intimate feeling to that again. I know that Wolf's is probably not a great example of this, but I do think that there's a capacity for him to maybe go back towards his roots, and The Terminator seems like a good place for that.
Okay. So is he going to write the script as well?
He doesn't normally write, so no.
Okay. So who are you going to go with for that?
That's a good question. I'll probably go with Chris McKenna, the guy and the other guy that collaborated on Spider-Man with him. Just go ahead and make it that creative team, you know. Except for Kevin. Kevin can't come.
Okay. Boom, roasted.
Yeah.
Who's the cinematographer going to be?
Cinematographer. That's a great question. I'm blanking on cinematographer names right now. But no, I'm going to give the same answer for everything. Let's just go Greg Fraser.
Okay. That's a good choice. He's a great cinematographer.
I don't know if they'd work well together, but maybe.
Yeah. And then a composer.
Composer, you say? You know, as much as I would want Hans Zimmer, I do think that that's kind of a meme choice at this point.
Sure.
So I'm thinking back through science fiction scores I've heard recently. You know what? I'm going to go out of pocket on this one and say Vivek Madala. Okay. He is the composer for Pooja Sir.
Oh, interesting. Oh, yeah, that's right. We talked about him before.
Yeah, we have. I think that he, I don't know. He seems like a cool guy. Let's give him the job.
All right. Shout out, Vivek. All right. So now we're going to get to the cast.
Okay.
Who are you going to cast for Sarah Connor?
Ooh, that's a tough one because
Yeah.
you know the thing with Linda Hamilton is that she has a vibe about her that is at first delicate, but then becomes more gruff as the film and the sequels specifically go.
Yeah.
So she needs to be not transitional, but like someone who can embody both.
Yeah.
And then you think through age wise, is she supposed to be in her 20s or 30s?
I think 20s.
Okay,
but
so
I could
that
be
limits
wrong.
the pool quite a bit. I know that she was recently in a very similar film, and so it's kind of funny to throw this one out there, but let's go like Isabella Merced.
Okay. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it Isabella or Isabel?
I think, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
She was in Dora.
We know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for Terminator,
For the Terminator,
which is what they put him on IMDb. I didn't know how they were going to like.
well, in that film, he's not referred to as the T-800.
Okay. I did not remember. I
That's
couldn't
the name
remember
of
if
the
that was a,
At least I don't think he is. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I think he was actually the T-101 in that one. There's two different model numbers. I don't know. Anyways, so
Regardless, Terminator.
I think that you could go the route of casting an action star.
Sure.
And there's a lot of people that I think could pull that off. So you could have like The Rock. You could have like, Vin Diesel.
Okay.
But you couldn't have them at the same time.
Sure.
You could have Jason Statham. You could have Henry Cavill. You could have, I'm going to keep naming off people in this manner. But I don't think any of those fit.
No.
Because part of the magic, at least at that point, for casting Arnold Schwarzenegger is, yes, he's a big guy, but he wasn't really an action star at that point. Like, he'd been in Conan and Hercules in New York and the Pumping Iron movie. He hadn't done any other action films.
Right.
So I think, like, casting someone who's not as well known, that doesn't have ties to it, is of paramount importance. And I'm trying to think back through actors that have already appeared in Terminators. I don't double cast anyone because, again,
Sure.
no ties whatsoever. I think that, okay, this is maybe an out-of-pocket choice.
I like it.
John Boyega.
Oh.
Like, I don't think the Terminator needs to be physically imposing, but I think they need to have a presence. And I don't know. I think there's something about John Boyega that could be presentational, but he gets typecast into comedic characters. So this would be like a break.
Sure.
Going into something else.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, and I only did the kind of the first three. So you're going to do Kyle Reese next.
Oh yeah, of course. Kyle Reese. So the thing
because I would have felt like John Boyega would have fit really well for Kyle Reese, but I also like where your head's at. I like the different direction you're taking it.
I mean, I don't think that the Terminator needs to be the bulky guy,
Not necessarily,
like,
no.
It's a product that, like Robert Patrick, it's not bulky.
No.
And he's a very slim man.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, yeah, we're just reframing the Terminator, and in a modern context, I think that, we'd change the story.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Would be an unassuming person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
So for Kyle Reese, you have to think it's a war-torn future.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of nutrition.
Okay.
So they got to be
Sure.
skinny.
Sure.
It's a very small guy.
I feel like I know where your head is at, but I'm not sure.
I think that you could go Timothée Chalamet.
Okay. We've cast him in everything.
We've cast him in everything.
Listen,
so
basically
far.
what we're saying is that if we get the opportunity, we're going to cast Timothée Chalamet.
Yes, that's the goal. I don't know if he's too young. I may have already said him, so I'm going to move on. In my head, there's a couple other smaller actors. I really like a couple of people. And when I say smaller actors, I mean like physical stature.
Sure.
I think Kyle Reese does need to be a smaller person.
Okay.
Even though he's a soldier, like he's malnourished.
Like this height concern or
No.
like...
I mean like thin.
Because I have a guy in mind now, and I'll be curious to hear after
Like
you're
Anton
done.
Yelchin was a very good casting for that.
yeah.
But
R.I.P.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
He was Kyle Reese, though. In Terminator Salvation.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
He really was.
Yeah.
It was a great casting.
Yeah.
I think Christian Bale's John Connor was also great. That film is misguided for other reasons,
Sure.
but the cast was good.
Yeah.
No, I think this is hard because I'm trying to like name out someone that I think would be iconic,
Sure.
Like if only David Tennant was like 30 years younger. So
True.
like that's kind of the exact what I'm looking for. And I'm not gonna say Chalamet. So I'm thinking back through other teeny bopper actors. Honestly, I would love Glenn Powell, but I think he's too old, especially for the pairing with Merced.
Yeah.
So, this is the one I'm struggling with, which is crazy.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go ahead and suggest two things.
Mm-hmm.
We could go Justice Smith as Kyle
Okay.
Reese.
Sure.
We could.
Yeah.
Or we could take your suggestion,
Okay.
swap John Boyega down,
Okay.
and then cast Adam Driver as the Terminator.
I like that too. But I
kind of like the Terminator just being like this non-assuming guy.
Yeah, I like Justice Smith. I like that option. I think that's a good one. He's good. He's a good option. Now, would you like to hear what my thought was when you were talking?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike Feist.
Oh my God, I forgot about him.
Yeah,
he's still on the cusp of being just a bit too old.
he is, but his face, he's got such a young face.
He has a little baby face. Like Toby Kebbell, like 10 years ago would have been an option.
Like in Challengers, he was the most convincing younger looking person.
That's true.
So I like that was my thought when you were talking about, but Justice Smith is also a really good choice.
Yeah. Like, I think Tom Holland is again kind of like Timothée Chalamet, where it's like, I just don't want to cast him.
Sure.
And I guess that Justice Smith might also be in that same ballpark of like younger leads, but I feel like he's been in a lot less stuff.
He has.
Yeah. And honestly, he's one of the best parts of Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, I forgot about Detective Pikachu. Jesus.
That was
All
my
right.
introduction. Actually, I think he was in Jurassic World, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, I think.
But I remember him
point.
from Detective Pikachu, not from Jurassic World.
He's also very good in Dungeons and Dragons.
I forgot he was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a fun guy. Yeah, so that's my listing for that. I forgot to write out what the character names were, so I'm not going to go as in depth on this one for you.
You know what? I can pull up the character names. Just tell me.
Did you see what it was?
No.
In the Mood for Love.
Oh.
I want you to remake In the Mood for Love.
Why?
But I want it to be set in 1967 in Montreal, and that's very important.
In Montreal.
Yes. So you're dealing with a French-Canadian
Sure.
vibe. This is during the World's Fair. So my thought is that their spouses might be off at the expo or something.
All right.
I don't know.
So I think that if you're going to go in the direction of a I don't know. If you're dealing with a director who's going to deal with like longing and passion, there's only one guy right now who I think you have to go with. And I'm going to go with Luca Guadagnino.
I knew you were going to go with Luca.
I don't think there's a better option at this point.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, this is tough.
And I wasn't going to have you do the whole everything, just the two leads.
Just the two. Okay, so the two leads. So
I think the rest of it's too much.
All right. So our male lead.
We'll just assume it's Luca's team from, Challengers.
Yeah, Seambu Mukti Prom. Shout out my king. Let me think. All right. So for our male lead, I think we got to go. We're going to make them a little bit. We're not going to make them young. We're going to kind of go a little bit older. Not like super old, though. Kind of, say like 30s, I guess.
I was about to say, if you say late 20s, I'm going to slap you.
Dude. Yeah. No, not late 20s. 30s in some way, shape, or form. Which my female choice, I'm already regretting that because I do know who I'm picking for the female. I'm going to go Daisy Ridley.
Okay.
And here's my reasoning is please somebody get her a good role.
Yeah. Because
she is great in Sometimes I Think About Dying. And the movie's just not great around her, but like she is very good.
Sure.
Who would I pair her with is tough. I'm going to go. I don't know. This is going to be very strange. And I think it could work because I think that he, in the last couple of years, I think he's kind of fallen in more of a blockbuster kind of guy, but he has put in some really great dramatic performances, including in the blockbuster stuff. Michael B. Jordan.
I dig it. Michael B. Jordan, I think of as being like not really a blockbuster actor, despite the only reason he's a blockbuster actor is because he was in Ryan Coogler's stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like, I guess he was in.
Well, that's all.
That is Ryan Coogler.
But the next couple are not.
It's Ryan Coogler's fault. If you want to go with,
I wouldn't call it fault, but
it's his doing.
I think the Creed movies are good, but I'm saying like in the last couple of years, I don't think he's turned in as many dramatic performances as
Creed 3 is Ryan Coogler's fault. Put that on a t-shirt.
Creed 3 is good enough.
Creed 3 is not as good as Creed, but it is good.
No, the action, like the fighting scenes are great, but it's really hard because I think Creed is like in my top 5 sports movies of all time.
Yeah,
like I genuinely think it's better than Rocky.
I think that the best Rocky movie is Rocky Balboa by far.
Fair.
And Rocky trails, but I don't really like 2 through 5 very much.
But no, this is either going to go like this remake would go either really well or really bad. But it's like you had to pick one. You had to pick like my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, I was just trying to.
Yeah,
you know how I feel about Terminator.
Yeah, well, you wait till what I hit you with next.
Oh my god! But what are you doing to me?
But my point is that like I think that those two would give an interesting, very different performance than we got in like the original film, which I think is the only reason you remake it is if you have something different to say or something different to get at. And I think both of those actors are great, but have in the last couple of years not been given the opportunity to really flex their muscles a little bit. So
well, and also the setting being Canada in the 60s
interesting
ties into this as well, because with your casting it might explore like a race dynamic
that
as well.
too. Yeah.
So I dig it. Like I think it would be. This doesn't sound like it's a shot-for-shot remake of In the Mood for Love for obvious reasons. This is a spiritual successor with the same title.
Yeah. I like that. All right, so are you ready for the next film that I have for you to remake?
I don't think I'm ready.
Okay, I think you're not.
Oh God.
The next one, we're going to stick with James Cameron and go Titanic.
Titanic?
Yep.
Okay.
So we're going to start at the top again. Who do you want to direct this thing?
All right. James Cameron. He's just remaking it. No one else can.
Come on.
You know what? I think George Lucas has come out of retirement. I'm kidding. I got to think about that.
Okay.
Because I think, the thing with Titanic is it's a very personal romance story, but it's also a blockbuster epic.
Yep.
It's a tragedy.
Yep.
It's a disaster. So we have to balance that. In the director, it needs to be someone who can do both emotions very well. And I think this may not be in his wheelhouse, but when you look at the trajectory of James Cameron doing like these bombastic science fiction epics, randomly doing a spy rom-com,
sure.
and then he flexes with Titanic to try and make money for Avatar.
Yeah.
It's very similar to another filmmaker who has made 3 science fiction films, is about to make his 4th, or release his 4th. So I'm going to go Gareth Edwards.
Oh.
Because I think that he does the personal stuff very well, even if it's misguided in the films he's been making.
Sure.
So yeah. I'm going to go Gareth.
Who's writing this thing?
Who's writing this thing? History wrote it. It's real.
I mean, yes, but
I think they use the same script.
Okay. Same script. Doesn't seem like a good idea, but we're going to go with it.
No, hold on. Let's see. I think Gareth Edwards wrote The Creator.
I think he does too.
Let's give him the shot. This is his idea. He's decided to rewrite Titanic and make it his own.
This is written and directed by Gareth Edwards. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then your cinematographer, who you want to...
He already has an established relationship with Greg Fraser, so we're just sticking with Fraser.
This is your guy, man.
It's my guy. It's
all right.
My boy.
And the composer.
Now that is an interesting one. I think we'll go Michael Giacchino.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
I would go James Horner, but he's kind of dead. And he also did the original Titanic.
So here are the 3 people I'm going to have you cast. Jack, Rose, and Cal Hockley.
But not the captain.
No. If you would like to cast the captain, we can also do that because that should not be that's not adding too much.
No, I mean, okay, so the captain, I think John Travolta. So,
Okay.
With the beard, I think he can pull it off from the Santa commercials.
I thought you were going to go with Coleman Domingo.
Coleman Domingo? No, he's Cal.
Oh.
I'm kidding. That we can't. Okay, so here's the thing. We could do that. I think that changes the poise of Titanic entirely for historical accuracy, which Ridley Scott's not directing this version of Titanic, unfortunately.
Let me ask you something.
Yes.
Were you there?
No. But I'm aware of these things. So I would love to cast Coleman Domingo in this, but I can't think of like a big role for him.
Sure.
Unless he's Jack's immigrant friend.
Okay.
We change, instead of it being a guy from Italy, it's a guy from Africa.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't love that either.
No.
But my point being, like, I don't know where he'd fit in on that.
Fair.
I want someone like Coleman Domingo to be Cal.
Sure.
But
there's no one like Coleman Domingo.
There's no one like Coleman Domingo. It's upsetting.
He's one of a kind.
I love him.
We do.
Okay, so for Jack, if this movie was, I'm going to keep saying this for everything. This movie came out 10, 15 years ago. There's a couple of options. Obviously, we're doing today. I think I'm going to bring up Anton Yelchin yet again. I think he'd have the energy that you'd want.
It's a real shame, man. He's just so good.
God rest his soul. Like crazy.
Have you seen Green Room?
No.
You would hate it, but he is so good in that. They're like a heavy metal band.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, and it stars Patrick Stewart as well. It is rough. Like, it's a rough movie to get through, but it's like he is so good. I think it might have been one of the last things he was in for sure.
I think Star Trek Beyond was the last thing he appears in that was released because it was filmed. But anyways, and then I also think that Glenn Powell could be a good Jack. Like, especially like Dark Knight era Glenn Powell when he was like a young boy. But he's too old now. He's in his 40s.
Sure.
Or is he in his 40s?
He's getting up there.
He's near his 40s. He might be. I think he's 37. I'm sorry, Glenn. I didn't mean it. So that really does limit us back into the same pool of like your Timothée Chalamet's and all that stuff. This might be a rare occurrence where I actually say, let's go Tom Holland.
Oh, okay. Let's go Tom Holland.
I think Tom Holland has the sweetness, because Jack is a very sweet person. I don't know if he has the bubbliness that Leo brings to it, but I think he could act it.
Yeah. It's such a thing because you're following in the footsteps of Leo, who gives.
It's hard to follow in the footsteps of Leo.
Yeah, because he's one of a kind too.
Yeah, I think that the thing with Tom Holland is we've seen him be typecast into a lot of the same similar types of roles because of Spider-Man. And so it's difficult to be like, oh yeah, let's do something else. But I don't know if you've watched The Crowded Room.
No, but Brady Corbet directed a couple episodes of that, and he's the guy who did The Brutalist. So right. I do need to check it out, though. I
didn't finish it. I was kind of bored, but also I wasn't I was doing homework while watching it, so I can't really say I watched it. But in that show, he plays a very different against type character, and he's able to do that just like Daisy Ridley. He's a professional. It's just he's not generally given material that would be inductive to that.
Yeah.
So
I devil all the time.
Right. So I think that Tom Holland would be a good choice for Jack, especially he's the right age right now.
Yeah. Who's going to be your Rose?
So, I was thinking about it. It could create some weird power dynamics with this. I don't know. Maybe if we did change. So I think the race thing, I feel weird discussing it so blatantly on here, but I think that part of this poise of the story does change from that. It's not the same story, but if it's a upper class family or something, perhaps maybe Coleman Domingo is Cal. And then you have Zendaya as Rose. But that feels weird because of the age gap.
The age gap is definitely...
But there is an age gap. There's 12 years apart in the film.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a bigger age gap.
It's a much bigger age gap.
Yeah.
So I think that having Zendaya as Rose is not...
That's also kind of a low-hanging fruit at this point, putting Tom Holland and Zendaya together, because we know that they can do it.
We know that they can do it. So,
they clearly like each other a little bit.
Yeah. Wait, what? You serious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So no, I think we could sub in. I also don't want to like keep going from the same pool of people. I don't remember.
Fair.
That's the problem.
That's
I'm
fair.
Like, but it's the thing that we're age locking for current day.
Sure.
I could see like two people
Mhm.
actually. Could go Sydney Sweeney or Maya Hawke.
Oh. Interesting.
I think as I said this out loud, I'm more leaned towards Maya Hawke.
Okay.
But that still leaves me with my Cal problem.
Yeah, my Hawk's interesting. I like that. I like it.
Different take on Rose.
Yeah.
So we got to find a Cal that's not 20 years older.
Sure.
If not 25. That's going to be difficult. You know, I just mentioned Sydney Sweeney, so I feel awkward, and I've already said his name in this. You could do Glenn Powell as Cal.
I think he could be a very good Cal.
Because, like, yeah, he's not he's in the right age range, and he'd be playing kind of against type yet again.
I like it.
Yeah.
You know what's funny though? It's like all of these movies that we've done. It's like they're going to be like we've consistently picked like really good movies to remake, and it's like they're only going to get worse from here.
Oh yeah,
like we've only made them worse somehow.
I think adding Glenn Powell into anything makes it better.
I don't know.
I'm retracting my statement, and I want Harrison Ford to be the captain.
Okay. Probably a better choice.
Yes. He'd be like, get off my boat.
That's true. But no, I just like, it is funny because I think we should in the future try to do bad movies and try to fix them.
I think that would be, so this segment is now officially breaking good movies.
Yeah, because both of us just like went for like, wanted to hit the other one in the chest and was like, here are a couple of your favorite movies. Bam, fix it. It's like, well, there's nothing to fix. So
yeah. Titanic is perfect.
Titanic is great. Yeah.
It's perfect.
It's like, I don't know that it could have been more perfect casting at the time.
No.
Like those two together brought exactly what was needed.
I've watched it a lot.
Yeah.
Like the times that I've logged it on Letterboxd is not all of the times that I've watched it. I did stop because I felt weird about it.
Sure.
And sometimes
not all those logs were even like
the
legitimate logs.
The whole thing played in my presence. But, you know, I do go back and watch scenes frequently. I listen to the soundtrack a lot.
Sure.
I love Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite Titanic movie lover level. I don't. I think that's his handle. It's the guy that collects Titanic on VHS.
Oh, I've seen that guy. Yeah.
I'm not quite there.
Yeah.
But I do have it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Blu-ray.
Same.
Did you see that Best Buy doesn't even have movies anymore?
I know. Don't get me started.
Speaking of Blu-rays. But they still have video games.
You know, it's just funny because
But they have Legos now.
this is totally random and not on topic at all. But when PSN went down for like a day and a half, GameStop weirdly put out this thing that was like, I bet you wish you had physical media now. And I'm like, it's not really going to solve the issue. Because having the disc you would not be able to play it regardless.
Depends on the game.
Because I can go into any game that I want, right?
Yeah.
And if the game doesn't require PSN, like if it's not an online thing, you can access the game just fine.
Yeah.
Like I was able to play MLB and like NCAA football as long as I wasn't playing in online mode. I had no issues.
But so I think part of the big controversy for the weekend, I don't know if you know this, it was actually free content weekend for Call of Duty Black Ops.
Oh, I'm aware, yeah.
I was originally going to ask if you wanted to play,
Yeah.
but alas, no.
Yeah.
So that was kind of upsetting.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I already have Black Ops 6, so it wasn't that big of a deal to me. It's just more of playing with you. But yeah, I agree. It was something like I just turned on my Switch and started playing,
I was playing Mario Kart
or whatever.
Yeah.
I have been a big proponent of physical video games for a long time. It's only been more recently that I started even doing digital for purchases, and it depends on the game. So like for Call of Duty, they don't put any of the data on the disc. You buy the disc, you stick it into the PlayStation, and then it proceeds to download 300 gigabytes, the same as if you just bought it on the store.
Correct.
So for COD, I buy digital, but then for other stuff like the Star Wars games, I actually do buy those on disc because I like having them.
Mm-hmm. I don't care about physical on that anymore. I don't have enough room to keep everything physical, so I have to make choices. In video games was like one of the things I don't care about having the physical like thing in my hand.
The other aspect of it, especially with games, is that it's not a fear, but I actually have a tendency to sell off or like get rid of games. Movies, I have a bigger tendency to keep for long term. With video games, I resell. And so it's like, I don't get that resale value. There's no equity in a digital purchase.
Sure.
And that is something that bothers me, especially when it's like you're spending $70 on it. Because it's like, if I just drove to Walmart and did the same thing, I might be able to get $20 out of this when I'm done.
See, I buy so few games too that's kind of not a big deal.
It's not a big deal anymore. Like, especially with PS Plus, like I get stuff for free.
You know what I buy is I buy the baseball game every year. Whatever MLB game comes out, I buy it.
You do that, yeah.
I will buy the college football game every year. I have stopped buying Madden now that college football is out.
Fair.
Because I'm going to play football, I'm going to play college. But other than that, there's not like anything that I consistently buy. It's like once every couple of years I buy something. Like not maybe it's more like once or twice a year I buy. When there's a sale or something going on, I'll buy some stuff.
If the new COD looks like fun, I'll generally get it when it goes like 20 or 30 off.
Sure.
And then, the bigger ones would be anything Star Wars or Spider-Man related I try to get. But
yeah.
And that's like it. I don't play random games. I think I also kind of have burnout on modern gaming, where it's with stuff like Assassin's Creed. I don't have the time to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Well, they're all like open world now too, so it's like it's a different thing too.
It takes like 300 hours to see everything.
Right.
I don't got that kind of time.
Yeah.
Like I just want to play a cool story and be done.
Like the original like bunch of Assassin's Creed games are pretty like streamlined. Like they take a while to get through, but it's not like that.
No, and that's
actually not what this podcast is about.
No, this is a good
regardless.
segue. This is what I was going to talk about.
Okay.
So I'm happy you said that exactly.
Yeah,
because I was trying to segue to it, and we did it brilliantly.
We did it.
So for what we've been doing, because I've been playing a lot of this one game, I was in the outage looking at my PlayStation, like what do I have installed? And there's a lot. But one of the things I noticed was Assassin's Creed, the Ezio trilogy, which I had downloaded a couple of years ago and have yet to like actually turn on and play. So I restarted Assassin's Creed 2, and I'm probably like halfway through the game, just from a few sitting sessions.
It's a good game.
And not everything. I mean the main story.
Yeah.
But I forgot how much I enjoyed that one. And it's like, it's kind of clunky now, especially like if you've played more modern open world games and that sort of thing. But the story is fantastic. And I really started grieving that like the Assassin's Creed games post the third one, they very clearly had no idea what they were doing, because the story shifts and there's not that overarching thing with Desmond in the present day. And there's just like random assassins that like, there's no overarching story as far as I can tell. Cause I've played Black Flag and Liberation, and there's a couple other ones. I've definitely played Odyssey, but even Odyssey I didn't finish because there was just too much to do. I got bored.
Sure. I love Black Flag, and I think it's only because I love pirates.
Black Flag is fun. I think that it plays very similar to how I remember Brotherhood and 2 playing.
Sure.
It just has a bigger open world, and I really like how in Odyssey, like it's just one giant map and there's no loading between stuff. But anyways, my point being, like, yeah, Assassin's Creed 2 is like, it's aged not great, but it's still playable. And I think that's something that you don't see a lot from that era of gaming, is that it's like, this game has aged poorly and the controls are bad. And this one, it's playable even if the dodge button doesn't the dodge is X.
Oh.
It should be circle or triangle, but no, it's X.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And so, and I think in the modern ones, it's pressing both of the bumpers at the same time.
Oh, interesting.
Anyways, the control scheme's completely different.
I haven't played a game since Odyssey came out. Like, I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game since like Odyssey came out, because I never played it. I bought it, but never played it.
If you like Greek mythology, I think you'd enjoy it. But
I do.
yeah, and I want to like. So I have PS Plus, the bigger one. So a lot of these games are just free. I could download any of the Assassin's
Sure.
Creed. I heard that Mirage or Shadows, whatever the most recent one was good. And then there's one coming out this year that's supposed to expand on that.
Mhm.
I've not played either because
Interesting.
I never finished Odyssey, and I feel like a failure.
Well, I've just been playing Marvel Rivals.
Yes, you have an ungodly amount.
I have. I've put too much time. It's embarrassing how much time I've put into that.
Like I'm talking
Okay.
like I played Assassin's Creed 2 a lot. I've probably played like 8 hours total. You've played like 80 hours in that same period of time with Marvel Rivals.
All right, you gotta. Okay, I don't know why you felt like you need to put me on blast right now.
I'm not blasting you. I'm just telling
Listen,
you.
I said I played a lot. You didn't need to give him the exact number. All right, that's crazy.
It's more than that now.
Oh, 100% is more than that now.
But yeah, anyways, so I played a lot of Assassin's Creed 2 this week. And then for films, I watched Love Hurts. I finally got around to The Wild Robot. And it's overhyped.
That's it.
I'm just going to say it here.
I need
It's
to watch
overhyped.
it.
It's a good movie. But for everyone that was like, it's my favorite movie of the year, the period, I don't know what they watched because it wasn't that.
Interesting.
It's like you know those movies that are all vibes with nothing happening, just vibes.
Sure.
This movie feels like that, but animated.
Okay.
You'd probably really like it. I mean, I gave it 4 stars.
Okay.
I liked it. I
Yeah.
just am like, it's not the best movie of the year.
Sure.
So I watched that, and then I watched Mikey and Nikki in Class, and that is a Elaine May. It's not even a comedy; it's a tragedy from the 70s. I'd never heard of this one, but Elaine May apparently directed The Heartbreak Kid, which I have heard of, and it stars Peter Falk and John Cassavetes, who were in and directed the film that I watched a few weeks ago, A Woman Under the Influence. I actually really liked Mikey and Nikki. I don't know if you've seen it.
No.
It's on Max. You should check it out.
Okay.
But it's like a buddy film with a big twist.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah. And
I
it's
like that.
largely improv, but they do improv in a very different way. So instead of it being like the actors improv lines from the scripts, the actors improved their actions.
Oh.
So they had
Wow.
to stick to the script word-wise, but they could do whatever they wanted while doing that.
I feel like it's a nightmare.
Oh, yeah. She
Like-
shot 4 times the amount of footage.
I was going to say the cinematographers over there sweating.
Excuse me, 3 times the amount of footage is Gone with the Wind. And the film, yeah, it was like an insane amount of footage.
Like really cool and all. I assume you just liked the whole set and you're just like, let's.
It was like shot for real in Philadelphia. There were no sets.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. It's the 70s.
Yeah. But no, it's a crazy film in that regard. I don't think it's like, I gave it 4.5. I
Yeah.
do think it has some flaws, particularly misogyny. But
It's the 70s.
It's the 70s.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's what I've been up to.
So I've continued my MCU rewatch, but between that, I've watched some other things. So I watched Let's Start a Cult, which is the new Stavros Halkias film
Okay.
of Cumtown fame, obviously. And
You
now,
seem to be a fan of that podcast.
our friend Quinn, shout out Quinn, the biggest Cumtown fan I know. I don't know many.
That's true.
I don't
It's
know
not
many
you.
others in real life.
The only reason I know about it's because of him.
But me and him are going to see him live in April, so that's exciting.
Oh, yeah, I know who that is.
All right. And then I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one again. Very good. I enjoyed it. Gave it 4 stars. Rewatched Ant-Man. It's mediocre. It's fine. I gave it 2.5 stars. Huh?
I like it.
All right. You can like it. Captain America Civil War still holds up. It's still very good. I think it does manage to keep things very personal while also having so many characters in this, but it never feels like it loses what it's going for there.
Maybe I should have the Russos direct my Titanic.
Based on their post MCU stuff, I'm gonna say no on that. Then I watched Before I Fall. This sucks. This sucks. Let me tell you, this movie is literally a girl has to live the same day over again to realize that she's not supposed to be bullying this one girl in school. It's real. It's as bad as it sounds. It's
I
like,
now have the shadow you were concerned about.
oh yeah, there you go.
It was just a shadow of myself after hearing this.
And then Parasite got re-released in IMAX, so I did go and check that out again.
No invite.
Yeah, I didn't know you weren't working, or I would have invited you. But still holds up very great. Hard Eyes, I already talked about a little bit. if you're into like the late 90s, early 2000s slashers, it's very like goofy. I think you'll enjoy this. It's interesting enough. And then I watched Love Hurts, which we already talked about. I watched both parts of Team Thor. If you're into Taika Waititi's like comedy, you'll enjoy it enough. Then I watched Doctor Strange, which is just a better version of Iron Man. We've already talked about that.
Yep.
Guardians 2, which I don't like nearly as much as the first one, but it's still not bad. Then I watched Spider-Man Homecoming. Great. Love it.
It is in fact a good movie.
Yeah. Thor Ragnarok, also great. And then for my South Asian female filmmakers class, we watched Rudali.
Interesting.
Which translates to female weeper. And this film is about a woman trying to learn how to cry.
It's like you.
Sure. I think it's a beautiful film, and there's some great musical sequences, but I connected to this zero. Like, I was not enjoying my time with this at all. Which this is back-to-back films in this class that I'm just like, I'm trying, but I'm not connecting with the films yet. So I'm really hoping
that was
that
me
it
in the
turns
New
around.
Wave class last semester.
Yeah, I could see that. And then today we watched How to Marry a Millionaire in my Marilyn Monroe class, which was very fun. That's a very good movie. I highly recommend that. It's a good one. I think it's kind of a good one for Valentine's Day in a weird way. It's it's in that like weird, 50s like gold digger genre. But I had a lot of fun. It is really funny. Some really good like physical comedy that I think you would enjoy particularly.
I do, in fact, like the physical comedy.
So I would highly recommend you check out How to Marry a Millionaire.
Okay.
And I started a movie today called Revenge. It's from the director of The Substance.
That's their only other film, right?
She has a short film that's like 22 minutes on Mubi that I'm gonna watch. But I need to finish this, but it's already lost a full star.
Nail in the foot?
Not nail. Shattered glass.
Yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah, there was like 45 minutes left, and as soon as I saw it was happening, I just turned the TV off. So I'm gonna have to go in later and like start the movie and then like fast forward just a little bit and then like continue.
I see.
But it's pretty brutal. Like it's pretty rough so far.
Is it The Brutalist?
No, very different than The Brutalist.
The Brutalist thing you've seen recently.
Okay, yeah, but no, I'll finish that at some point. But yeah.
Well, sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
You know what else it is?
What?
It's time to plug our social media.
Oh, yeah.
As always, you can follow us at TIWWWM Pod. Maybe I'll remember to post that new episodes are out. Who knows?
Yeah.
We're available on most social medias, so if you just type in that handle, you may come across us. And you can also follow our Letterboxd. The link, that's what it's called, is in the description below. So you can follow along with not only what we've been watching, but maybe some other stuff that doesn't make it into the show, which I think we actually do talk about everything that we log. But
yeah, I think so.
Sometimes no. So in my case, I've censored.
I'm more just like, you can see my exact ratings, and I've been giving more thoughts on what I've been watching, whether it's like a one sentence thing or sometimes it's a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But yes, if you're interested more in my thoughts on it, you can definitely check out Letterboxd.
Yeah. There was a guy who posted a video essay of like why I deleted Letterboxd, and he was like, it's because it cheapens the film experience when you're trying to dilute everything into a one-liner. And I was like, bro just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, mine are more like just like one sentence of my like thoughts, not generally like a joke. But
well, I mean, it depends on the movie.
Sure.
If it's something I've seen a million times, it's going to be a one-liner.
I don't mind either. I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I think it's weird that people would like gatekeep how you're supposed to like log on Letterboxd.
People on Letterboxd are just like not doing logging the right way, so therefore no one should log. Is kind of, and then he's like, but also that's just
stupid.
for me.
Yeah, that's stupid.
You can do whatever you want, but I don't think I should.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a weird video essay. I'm not going to link it. You can probably find it.
Yeah, sure.
You should watch it.
Okay.
And then make fun of it with me. All right. Well, this has been fun.
All right. Bye.